All right, what we've been waiting for. These four gentlemen and a lady, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourselves. You got just a couple of minutes to do that, and then we'll start with the questions, right? That mic's live.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Dean Schneider, and I'm running for Post 4 Commissioner in Baldwin County. I want to apologize in advance. I'm not used to this. I'm very nervous, and if I screw something up, please forgive me. I'm not a polished politician, as maybe our president these days are, and so therefore, please bear with me as we get through this. I've lived in Baldwin County for 18 years. I've raised our 3 wonderful kids, 2 of them who are in the crowd right now, proudly wearing my shirt. I'm not exactly sure they're probably wearing it, but thank you for doing that. It's surprising.
Is that how we know that they belong to you?
Yeah, it's so that when I look out in the crowd that I get to see them. Right. One of them is just graduating from Kennesaw State. The other is at Georgia Highlands, and I currently my wife and I currently have a junior at North Baldwin High School. So for the 18 years that we've been here, we've been in the same house. We've got a wonderful neighborhood, a wonderful community, and we've seen a lot of changes over the years. We'll get into that a little bit tonight, but a little bit more about myself. If you can't tell already from my accent, I'm from Wisconsin. And thank God that my wife and I decided to move down here because the weather is 10 times better down here. What else? I think I'm not a politician. I'm a resident like most of you of Baldwin County. I'm proud to say where I'm from. I'm proud of my community. I'm proud of my neighbors. And I want to continue that, how we raised our family. And I would like that for everybody in this community to be able to do so. It's been wonderful to us. Things are changing, and hopefully for the better and not the worse. And if you vote for me, I'm going to try to make sure that that is the case. So thank you for your time. And
thank you.
Hello, my name is Dee Dyer. I know how nervous you said you was. I was born and raised right here in Baldwin County, and I've been seeing the changes that's coming through, and I want to maybe open some new doors and try to see what we can do, what we can't do. I can remember growing up being on the dirt road over here, and if a car came up the road, everybody's like, "Hey, here comes a car." Well, now, everybody's like, "Hey, I can't get out of my driveway." And I get that, traffic could be an issue, and it could be better, but we got a lot of work to do here in Baldwin County, and I believe that I can be a help to the community, and I'm looking forward to helping you guys.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming out and joining us tonight to hear about all the candidates, and hope you get some good information to take home with you to share with your family and friends, and spread the word about how many people are here trying to represent your post. My name is Johnny Shirley. I'm here with my wife Lee. We both grew up. I was born here in Baldwin County in the hospital. It's like, you were born here, but we were both born and raised here. And we've seen a lot of changes throughout the years in Baldwin County. Some for the better, some not so much for the better. Just depends on who you're asking and who's benefiting from that change and growth. Between my wife and I, we have 5 children together. We celebrate our 10th anniversary in May. We have our ages of our children are ranged from 22 to 39, and we have 10 grandchildren, and we just had our first great-grandchild, and we're very proud of them. My heart and life has been in serving the public. I've worked since I got out of the Navy in 1989. I've worked in the law enforcement field ever since then. I currently work outside of Baldwin County with a multi-agency drug task force and criminal intelligence unit, where I contribute to both. I've specialized in digital forensic analysis and crime analysis. A lot of things I learned during my years working in Paulding. I've spent a lot of time with the Marshal's Department here and became familiar with all the code of ordinances, community development regulations, business license regulations, pretty much anything, all the regulations in Paulding that you could think of that the Marshal's office were involved with at that time, as well as we did all the park patrols. I was a part of setting up the Silver Comet Trail and getting that organized. I was proud that when I worked in Hiram, we were able to get the park designed and put in over there. I think everybody enjoys that theater there when they do shows. So I look forward to answering the questions tonight and getting to meet everybody, and y'all look up my website and contact me anytime, and I'll be glad to answer your questions. Thank y'all.
Thank you, John.
How's everybody doing this evening? I appreciate everybody coming out and taking the interest in all of us candidates and making a wise decision and choice. But my name is Scott Richards. I raised my family in Pickett's Plantation, and then we moved on into Seven Hills back in 2016. My wife Jeannie here in the front, we've been married a year and a half. My previous wife passed away 4 years ago from cancer, but God's still writing my story, and He's blessed me with a wonderful mate, and I appreciate her very much and her support. A little bit about myself. I want to get it right out front, and because this is a thing of contention with a lot of people. I'm a builder, but I'm a custom builder. I don't do any track building. I'm a director on the Home Builders Board of Association, and people misunderstand what they do. They advocate for the people, trying to keep prices down. I've dealt with Washington, D.C. and that mess up there, going and advocating and meeting with congressmen. I've dealt with it at the state level, and I can deal with it at the county level. So I have a good grasp on the issues and the things that a lot of you are concerned about. And I made a promise in a little talk with a women's group, a Republican women's group. I will not build, I will not develop, I will not do anything in Paulding County if I'm elected to the Board of Commissioners. But one thing I can do, I know a lot of people for issues that we have to bring in development, the kind of structures you want, the overlay districts and so forth. I know a lot of people that I can connect with working at the state level and at the federal level. And so I just will say that I have, me and Jeannie, we have 7 grandsons. We can't get a girl between us, and I don't know what that problem is. But I was born and raised in Georgia. I am a direct descendant of Richard Stockton, who signed the Declaration of Independence, and I'm very proud of that. And it instills in me, just like Jim mentioned, this republic is on the cusp. And we have got to pull together to make sure that the red wins this coming election. So, and I know we're all Republicans here together, but it's important that we coalesce around. After we go through the voting process, if this thing winds up in a runoff with a Democrat, the one Democrat, we all need to get together and support one another, because we're all in here Republicans. Thank you.
Totally agree with that, 100%. Hi, I'm Sean Ray. I am a long-term resident of Paulding County. I've got 2 girls that I've raised in this county on the south side, and 4 grandchildren. I've worked with Home Depot for 32 years. I've got a ton of experience in different areas around Home Depot corporate. I've started my own business here in Paulding County, dug in to figure out how to start a business. I didn't know how to do that. And I've got a successful business going now. I am committed to listening to issues, your problems, and developing a point of view and taking that to the other commissioners, and hopefully coming up with a plan that will support everybody's point of view. And I would love your vote on May 21st. Thank you.
Okay, to the candidates, we will start the questioning. These 2 young people will do the questioning, and I'll be back in the back. 2 minutes, 3 minutes for each question. Are we at one question answered by the entire panel?
Yes, and they're going to go
Okay. What do you mean a different order? That way or this way? You got the order? Okay. Right on. Here we go.
Okay, your first question, it goes to Steve Dyer first, and it says, in your opinion, what should be the function of a county manager?
That's a pretty hard question for me. The function of a county manager should be somebody that people can look up to, maybe have an outstanding background, and maybe know a little bit about what they're getting into or what changes they can make. I've watched companies I work for have managers, and I've seen some that's progressed more than others and some that don't progress, but my idea is to have there's somebody in there that you can just put up there that knows what they're doing and control what needs to be controlled.
This same question for Michelle Ray. Do you need me to repeat it?
No.
Okay.
Is this one? Okay, I'm blowing it. I think, do I need to stand? Okay. I think that the county manager is someone who's supposed to help the commissioners. She goes and finds out information and brings it back to the commissioners to help them make decisions.
This same question for Scott Richards.
The county manager is hired to serve the Board of Commissioners to run the day-to-day operations of the county government. He oversees, he implements, he also sets the agenda for the Board of Commissioners when they meet. The Board of Commissioners, I know, can bring up issues and so forth, but the county manager is pretty much the COO of county government seat. And he is responsible to seeing that day-to-day operations are ran efficiently and carries out the wishes of the Board of Commissioners.
Dean Schneider.
I don't think that I could have probably explained it any better than Scott just did, so I'm going to say thank you, Scott.
Johnny Shirley.
This is the problem, being the sixth person. If the person answers the question, everybody's already covered everything.
We're gonna gauge one of them. Let's talk about Cheerios.
Yeah, I'm familiar with county managers and city managers. They are responsible for the day-to-day operation of county and city governments as directed by the Board of Commissioners as they direct them. The city manager has supervisory authority over any non-elected official in the county. Elected officials manage their own departments. They submit their budgets to the county manager for submission to the Board of Commissioners annually. Rules and regulations, changes in personnel policies and things of that nature. The hiring, human resources and personnel answer to the county manager.
Michelle Ray, how many times have you attended a planning commission meeting in the past 2 years, and what did you take away from that meeting?
I have attended one in the past 2 years, and it got me really super excited about running for this post because I was like, I have been missing out all this time, not even realizing all the things that you can learn about what's going on in the community. So even if I don't win this, I will be attending them going forward as I can because I do still have a full-time job. So it's a very interesting thing to go to learn anything that's coming about in the county.
And the same question goes for Scott Richards.
I can't tell you that I physically attended one in the last 2 years, but I have viewed online the meetings and been very much, thank God for technology, and reviewed and really have been involved in the comprehensive plan and seeing which way the county is directing and going. And again, I probably will continue to see it online as well.
Mr. Dean Shiner.
I have not attended any of the meetings, and I'm going to blame my children for that. I have coached boys lacrosse, girls softball multiple times. And there's where most of my time in the past has been spent. My children are now grown and out of those things, so I'm hoping in the future to be able to attend many more of those meetings. And whether in this position or not in this position, I plan to do so.
Johnny Shirley.
I as well have not attended personally any of the planning and zoning committee meetings, but I do regularly watch them. Thank goodness for YouTube. You can fix anything in your home, and you can watch Paulding County Commission meetings and planning and zoning meetings. So that's where I go to get that. If elected, my employer is open with me in my schedule where I will attend those meetings and be no issue with me being there in person.
D. Dyer.
Yeah, I personally have not attended those either. I stayed very involved with my commissioners, the people that's been to those, and I've been out in the working field and have to go listen to those guys and know what's going on in order to keep my thoughts going on what we're doing at work. So I personally have not attended one. I just keep up with it by my other leaders.
The third question for Mr. Richards. When was the last time you spoke to your post commissioner regarding your concerns in the county, and what did you talk about?
Probably a few days ago. Really just talking about and addressing the traffic situation. But, you know, there is a comprehensive plan being followed, and I want to share something with you. I hear a lot of people complaining about traffic going down Seven Hills Boulevard. I don't like it either, but it's progress. They're working on the roads, so you're going to have a little bit of traffic. And when you're growing like Paulding County is, and it's the second fastest growing county in Georgia right now, you didn't know that, you're going to have growing pains. But we talked about basically the planning of the crossover roads and the corridors and what's been identified as areas that will leave traffic off the roads and connect West Paulding more with East Paulding.
For Mr. Dean Schneider.
I'm going to call Mr. Stover. I had lunch with him probably about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was. A week and a half, 2 weeks ago, somewhere in that range. And we talked about many things. The growing pains at Paulding County, specifically Seven Hills and a couple of the other major subdivisions. We talked about the subdivisions that are currently going up, if you haven't seen the signs, that are completely all rental homes. We talked about traffic patterns. We talked about numerous things in that regards. It was a very good lunch meeting, and I thank you, Brian, for that.
For Mr. Johnny Shirley.
I can honestly say I've never spoken to Brian Stover. I've seen him a few times, but we've never exchanged common courtesies. I know in the past, a different post that we lived in before we moved, we tried to get in touch with our post commissioner there and never received a response. Part of this is my motivation for running. I've talked to several people that's had the same issue, trying to get in touch with their post commissioners and not having a response or an adequate response when they did get one. So that's where we're at with that.
D. Dyer.
I would have to say Brian Stover was the last one I talked to. We was going over a few issues of what we're dealing with in the county and what we can and can't do. I have talked to other people about the population of Paulding County. Talked to the board of directors for the northwest region, and we're talking about shortage of housing still in the northwest area. So, and I agree. What we got to do is do something with the traffic. I think it takes too long to get the traffic completed. But yeah, Brian would be the last one I would talk to, and that's about what it was about.
All right.
Sorry, I don't know if that was you. I I spoke and met all three commissioners and the chair when I went to the zoning meeting, and I spoke to Brian probably a month ago before I decided I wanted to run for this post, because I kind of wanted to know what the job was about before I just signed up to qualify for it. It was a very good conversation, and learned a lot of what he has found the issues are in this area of the county.
Okay, for the next question, what is your top priority to accomplish as post 4 commissioner? And that's going to go to D. Schneider. What is your top priority to accomplish as post 4 commissioner?
I would say that my top priority probably would be to alleviate the growing pains, and more specifically, our tax burden seems to be a little lopsided. I don't know if everybody's aware of this, but currently our property taxes pays about 88% of the taxes in Paulding County versus 12% of business industry. To give you a comparison number for that, something like Barntow County, their tax burden on their for their homeowners or for property taxes is 30% versus our 88%. There's a big lopsidedness there. So I'm thinking that one of the top priorities is how do we get that changed? How do we alleviate our property tax burden that just seems to be going up over and over and over every year? For the last 20 years, I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but for the last 20 years, our property taxes have gone up on average 8% over those 20 years every year. It's something that we just can't sustain and we can't live with. So that would probably be my top priority.
Mr. Johnny Shirley.
I could echo the same remarks as him about the taxes, but I believe there's like 3 parts to be a priority. They all work together. Or we've got to manage the tax growth and the burden that we're having to pay as landowners and property owners in the county. But along with that, we've got to do something to control the growth and restore confidence in our citizens into their elected officials and their post commissioners, that they're going to represent their desires, their wants, and their needs skillfully and meet what everybody wants, to reduce that tax burden and make sure we have an infrastructure to keep up with what growth is coming.
Same question for D. Dyer.
Yeah, I could probably say the same as they are. I want to put out there, one of my top priorities is the school system. I think that our school system needs a little more work. I don't want to see the kids going to school in little trailers. We're going to have to build some more schools. I was one of them that did have to go to school in a trailer back when I was in school, but I want to help out for the kids and make sure they got a better, Paulding County and the school system. That would be my top priority.
Same question for Michelle Ray.
I would say my top priority is bringing in businesses to help alleviate some of the taxes, and not necessarily like the little retail shops, but like larger businesses where people will come to our county and work in our county and shop in our county, and it's not just all of us shopping in this county and giving our taxes in a different sort of way, but we're still paying the same taxes just to a retail shop. So that would be my top priority, is trying to incentivize larger businesses to come to this area.
And Scott Richards.
Yes, there's a comprehensive plan that was established, I think 2015, reviewed 2017, we implemented, they updated in 22. There is a plan for Paulding County. My priority is to help execute that plan. Unfortunately, we don't have nothing to do with schools as a Board of Commissioners. It's the Board of Education. But this is where we got to collaborate more with the Board of Education on the overall comprehensive plan. When you establish the overall comprehensive plan, it was collaborated with many people, input for all the stakeholders in Paulding County. We And finally, they figured it out in 22. DOT is involved into the plan to make sure they coincide with the overall plan of Paulding County. And my priority is to help implement that plan. Bring in targeted areas, the overlay districts, bring in the dollars, and keep in mind, since we have become they call it we're a qualified government agency that follows under the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. And so we can be allocated state and federal money because we have developed this plan. As the Board of Commissioners, we have to adhere to this plan to be able to draw those monies into the county. But it's up to us to target those areas. And I would like to be able to bring in more business. Yes, we're lopsided, but it can be done in a very respectful, in a way that everybody would be proud of. We need to become a place of a destination, not going across Cobb County to go shopping.
Amen.
This next question is a little bit longer, so if you need me to repeat it, just let me know. It's going to go to Johnny Shirley first. We're very concerned about residential development in our district. Along with development, we now have a subdivision of rental houses being built on Cedar Crest Road. What is your opinion on how to curtail this kind of development in our district before the infrastructure, schools, etc. are in place to support it?
That's interesting. I just had a discussion with one of the gentlemen out here in the crowd or someone earlier about the number of rental house subdivisions that are coming into our county. I quit working in Paulding County in the Marshal's office back in 2005, I believe, so in 2004. At that time, development regulations did not allow for such a development. I don't know at what point that came about to allow that. I haven't been able to get an answer of how it came about. People I've spoke with that have tried to seek out answers to how that came about being allowed by the Board of Commissioners have not been able to get answers, and that's something, if elected, that I want to see how that happens and make sure it doesn't continue to happen. Developments like that and others that are uncontrolled are leading to heavier traffic on our roads, more crowd in our classrooms, which affects our education of our children. And I think we can work together with the Board of Education together to plan out these developments ahead of time so we know what impact is going to be on any given neighborhood, and let that be our guide to what we're going to allow for a number of houses or households to see what impact's going to be if somebody comes in with a subdivision in a neighborhood. If the schools can't support it and the roads can't support it, we need to have that in place before. It's like building a house and you're framing it up, and in the middle of framing, the owners decide they don't want to wait any longer and they want to move in. And you're trying to build a house while somebody's living there. You can't do it. And that's where we're at in Paulding right now. We're trying to build our infrastructure in our house, and there's more people coming in every day, and we can't get it finished and get caught up. And I want us to see us get caught up and ahead of that growth.
The same question for D. Dyer. What is your opinion on how to curtail this kind of development in our district before the infrastructure, schools, etc. are in place to support it?
Okay, I think that this is something that our commissioners now has already been challenged with. There's different ways they could go about doing it. I think that increasing lot size, building lines, you have to be so far from the property line for your house. I think stuff like that will help slow some of that down. Maybe like the rental homes, like they were saying, they've slowed a lot of that down. The community I work in, you know, we've got certain things passed already where you can build houses closer together. Well, what the commissioners are working on now is making it where they spread them out, and that's one way to slow it down a little bit, you know, make the lot size bigger. So I think that would be a great idea, you know, to get with the Board of Commissioners and try to keep pushing what they've already started, really. So, and then what you're going to see is going to, it'll take a year or two to start to see the effects of it, because the effects of what we're seeing now is from our previous commissioners good commissioners had wanted Paulding to get boosted back up again because everything was down, you know, everybody was sinking. So they did their job. They boosted Paulding back up. But now we're at the point to where we do got to let the growth catch up in the county.
Michelle Ray. Yes. What's your opinion on how to curtail this kind of development in our district before the infrastructure, schools, etc. are in place to support it?
Okay, so I can't stop what's going on right now. That was put in place before any of us will ever get into office. I don't agree with the rental houses that are on Cedar Crest and on 381. I do think that you could work with the other commissioners and put in some stipulations where when there's only a certain number of rentals within a subdivision, or when a rental goes empty, you have different fees that go along with that rental going empty. And then when it gets rented again, then at least you're getting some money out of that each time that somebody moves out. That would be my just stipulations for the builders.
Scott Richards.
Again, I refer back to the plan. There's targeted areas, and the infrastructure is being worked out, and they are not, I don't think, allowing stuff to go in that can't handle the current infrastructure. I want to address the issue of the rental houses. I hate it more than anybody else, but the county would be sued if they try to stop it. They have property rights. The hedge funds are buying these builders out and renting the homes. It's the only way these builders are keeping from going under. So there is no way to stop the rental, but we can do variances, we can do ordinances and so forth. I've worked with other counties where they implemented, they had to be a gated community, the buffers had to be in such a way. I believe in Paulding County, it's required to have an office on site. So it's handled a little differently. It's just a shame the way the market is right now, and with housing problems that we do have, that is what's gotten these builders, these developers from going under, and that's just something you cannot stop it.
Mr. Snyder.
I would agree with most of what Scott just said there, and I don't know that we can stop what's already been done, but we surely might be able to make it more difficult. And I'll simplify it as, can we make sure that they are providing buffer zones, things like that, make them pay permit fees, other things that you might be able to throw at them to make it more difficult to continue to develop these developments that I think none of us are for. Moving forward, I'm sure there's a lot we can do as far as just halting, slowing down, or maybe even stopping some of this development, unwanted development, I should say. It's not to say that we don't want, or I don't want development, we surely do, but if we're building all these homes, we surely need the roads, we surely need schools, we surely need the retail space and things like that. And maybe it's a matter of making sure that those things are in place prior to issuing any permits or allowing any of that to happen. So I'm not sure we can stop or curtail what's already been done, but if there is some ways, I would surely be all in on seeing if there is, that we can throw some things at them just to maybe make them go elsewhere.
Okay, for the next question, please provide any information about your time in Paulding County. For example, other civic or county positions held in any organizations you are currently working with or leading in Paulding County. And the first person that will answer that question is Dee Dyer.
Yeah, I'm not currently in any Paulding County position. As far as government, politically, I never did any of this kind of stuff. But I'm throwing my hat in the ring to fight for what I can, you know. But I've never did anything political. This will be my my first go around.
Michelle Ray.
I have also not done anything political in Paulding County, and I just had a concern and want to see everybody's voice be heard, and I want to listen and see what I can do to help our county.
Scott Richards.
I'm a member of the GOP, Paulding County GOP. I've been part of the state GOP. I regularly attend the Paulding County Women's Organization, Republican side. I've been involved with my grandson that I am raising at my 66 years of age, but he's a blessing, and he's involved in North Paulding football. And so I've been involved in that.
Dean Schneider.
I'm going to repeat something I said earlier. I'm not a politician. I've never held any office. I'm not even sure that I want to. But if I can do some good for the community, friends and neighbors, I'm sure that I'm going to try my best. And once again, I'm going to blame my children for not having the ability or the time to run for anything. So thank you. So no, I'm not. Have not held any positions whatsoever.
And Johnny Shirley. Yeah. Please provide any information about your time in Paulding County, for example, other civic or county positions held, and any organizations you're currently working with or leading in Paulding County.
Okay. Currently, I'm a member of the Paulding County Republican Party. I've been attending meetings and been a member for several years now. As a child, I was in the Boy Scouts here in Paulding County. Came up through here. We did a lot of stuff, camps, of course, Boy Scout stuff. After I got out of the Navy, I went back to work as a volunteer leader in the Boy Scout troops in South Paulding. I've coached kids or youth baseball, youth football in the county. I've stayed involved with different organizations and volunteered. I was one of the founding members of it's called the Family Alliance of Paulding now, but at the time it was called the Meth Alliance of Paulding when it was first created. I was one of the founding board members of that, and it was created to fight the meth epidemic that was just hitting Paulding in the late 90s, early 2000s. There's probably several others that are professional organizations I'm a member of, National Technical Investigators Association, Undercover Officers Association, and things like that.
You're not supposed to say that.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be able to deal with anybody.
Okay, for Ms. Michelle Ray, how would you define the role and responsibility of county governments in general, and specifically the most important responsibilities of Paulding County government at this time? How would you define the role and responsibility of county governments in general, and specifically the most important responsibilities of Paulding County government at this time?
I think the responsibility of local government is to serve their communities and the people who live in their community. And at this time, I think the most important thing is to ensure that our communities are safe. We have a nice place to call a community, and our roads are safe, and we have good school systems.
For Scott Richards?
The main purpose of the Board of Commissioners, again, is to oversee the function of Paulding County government, but its first and foremost is to protect the welfare, the public safety of Paulding County. And that can go to many avenues, not just your sheriff and your firefighters, but also goes to people that are inspecting your roads and your bridges and so forth. And everything really is geared toward the safety, the public safety and the welfare of Paulding County.
For Dean Schneider?
I would agree with Michelle and Scott in that local government is probably and or should be the most important government for us, for myself, for everybody. You're most affected probably by your local government. And like they said, as far as what roads are built, which bridges are maintained, what your schooling system is, where you get to shop, where you want to shop, that sort of thing. subdivisions, house building, that sort of thing. All of that affects us every day. So I think that local government should be more important or near the top of the list for everybody.
For Johnny Shirley?
To echo what everybody else says, local governments were created as a means for citizens to have a voice and have some kind of input into their community. Somebody's got to be in charge, somebody's got to make the decisions, and the purpose of us as citizens is to elect people into those positions that will represent our values and do the things necessary to make sure our communities are kept safe, our streets are kept repaired, bridges are safe, schools are staffed properly, all of the above. It's just a fundamental